Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel and happy Hump Day Wednesday. We got some stuff to talk about in today's episode, so I'm going to give it a couple minutes for folks to stroll on in here. And then we're going to dive deep and, kind of break down and discuss both The Young and the Restless and The Bold and the Beautiful for October 23rd. October 23rd. Okay, let us see. All right. Hey, Aisha. Hey, Keita. Hey, Blackpink Me, Jacqueline, Angela. Welcome in. Welcome in. Yeah, well, I'm going to give it a minute. How you guys doing on today's Hump Day Wednesday? Hopefully you're having a great day as we are in the middle of the week. Hey, Indigo Blue, Melissa Spencer, Jasmine, D. Spencer. Yep. We're going to talk about it. Hey, Ruby. All right, so welcome you guys to Soap Corner Talk, where we're going to discuss both The Young and the Restless and The Bold and the Beautiful for Wednesday, October 23rd. And we're going to start first with Y&R. And I mean, Phyllis is all over the place. I mean, the girl is like, I know who did it. It was Sharon. I have no doubts. I don't understand why don't nobody else understand that it's not Sharon, especially with her conversation with Nicholas. Nicholas can't believe it because he can't believe it. He sees Sharon in a different way than Phyllis sees Sharon. And pretty much with everything that Sharon has gone through, even though Nick don't know everything else about her being at that house, and he was shocked when Phyllis told him that Sharon was the last person to see, Heather alive. Oh yeah, that struck a chord. But it wasn't enough. It was so much so that Nicholas told Phyllis, I'm going to need you to stay away from Sharon. So leave her alone. Don't go anyway near her. And, Phyllis is like, I just don't get it. Now, granted, we know that there's some fishy business going on with Sharon at Heather's house, right? But there's no evidence at this point to show that. So right now, I think Phyllis she's in her feelings. She got the right idea, but she needs to take a step back and methodically think about this and go at this at a different way instead of being confrontational. Move with stealth if you're going to try to take down Sharon and figure this whole thing out. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to, accuse Sharon, you're not going to just be able to start confronting people and think that this whole thing is going to work. You're going to have to actually do this a different way. Move quietly. Chill out. Ask the right questions. Ask the right people the right questions, and then go from there. But her just being loud and making noise in the middle of a restaurant and confronting Nicholas and all of this, that's not going to go in her favor. If you're trying to sniff out somebody, you're going to have to think versus using your emotions first. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Phyllis needs to move in a different manner if she wants to, try to get the information that she's looking for, right? Well, it's also when she confronted Chance. Chance found, and let's talk about what he found, and then we'll talk about Phyllis and Chance. So they were over at the apartment, and it was just like we suspected, that they were going to use luminol in order to see if there was any blood splatter, and that's what they did. They found some on the floor, and they found the octopus. Now, I was trying to pull up an old episode, and I know I can go back and find it. I probably have to watch it on demand. And I tried to watch it on my demand through cable, but I have to go through and sort through the last, I think, when was that episode when all of that happened where Sharon passed out? I think it was in the week of the 20-ish something, if I quite remember. But I was trying to remember, was there anything that we can remember about an octopus? I remember Sharon knocking over the glass. We remember that, right? We remember them tussling and Sharon pushed her to the floor. Heather looked up at her. She was still alive. Then the next thing, they gave us a scene where it went dark. And then Sharon was asleep on the couch. And then when she woke up, Heather was, bleeding out. So I'm wondering, because we're coming up on November sweeps. The first day of November sweeps start in about a week on Halloween on the 31st. However, I'm wondering if maybe, because I think that's going to be the key to this. Did we see anything regarding this octopus? Because I don't remember any of that. And that blackout scene, that's why a part of me think that there's a little bit more to this. And there's a twist that is going to be dropped. And it's just my opinion. They could be all pointing to Sharon, and Sharon ends up in prison, right? But I think there might be a little bit more to this than what meets the eye. And being, like I said, we're heading into November sweeps. Could there be another twist to this? Because there's got to be a reason why she blacked out. And honestly, I don't remember anything about this octopus. Hey, Mari, Joyce, how you guys doing? So, tell me what you guys think. I'm wondering, do you think that, there could be a little bit more to meet the eye with this whole thing? Because this is our first time even thinking about this octopus or seeing this octopus, right? Even when Sharon was cleaning up, the octopus should have been on the floor. Unless this is just a writer's flaw. But we saw her clean up the glass. We saw her try to get up the blood. We saw her wrap up Heather. We saw her pack a bag of stuff. We saw her come back into the apartment. We saw her hide the bloody things. Why wouldn't, if the octopus was part of what took Heather out, why wasn't that in the bag as well? Why didn't Sharon try to hide if Sharon did this, why didn't she try to hide the octopus in the liquor cabinet with the other evidence? Because it's one thing to have the bloody rags, but why not hide the actual weapon that you used if you used it? The only thing I can think of is she don't really know how it happened. I agree with you, Gail. I agree with you, Gail. It's something that when I was like, octopus, where did that thing come from? Sharon we didn't see any evidence. She cleaned up everything else. She took the phone. She took the bloody rags. She took the body. She cleaned up the floor. She cleaned up the glass. Why would you leave the weapon there? Why would you leave that there? That doesn't make any sense unless Sharon don't know that was the actual weapon that killed Heather. It didn't make sense. And she could easily have framed him. If that's what she used, why not put that in the liquor cabinet with the bloody rags and the phone? Why not? You wouldn't leave that in plain sight. That is more damning than anything. So I'm seeing you guys' comments. You guys see where I'm coming from on this one? I think Heather fell and hit her head thinking that it's possible. Maybe they're going to use the octopus to prove Sharon didn't do it. That's a good point. I never know that item because Heather, yeah, that octopus is the first thing that we've seen since Sharon had everything else. That doesn't make any sense for her not to take that octopus. And when she came back into the apartment, if the octopus was still sitting there, you would think she would move it, throw it in the lake. If anything, she would have been better off to throw that octopus in the lake with her. And even though they would have found Heather, they probably would have never found the octopus. It would have just sunk to the bottom. You know what I'm saying? So I'm wondering if this is something to make us think that maybe Sharon didn't do this. She was blacked out. She woke up and just happened to see her on the floor. So who else could have done this? Now, I know there's other theories that's been floating around, like Daisy and, stuff like that. But with us coming up on November sweeps, I wouldn't be a big surprise that they flipped us. And the other reason that makes me suspicious about this is that Phyllis is going too hard on the whole Sharon thing. Number one, she jumped to the conclusion too quick, and she's going too hard for it. And for her to really be so sure of Sharon, it would be shocking to Phyllis if it was somebody totally different. Exactly. What was the octopus? Gail, she said, what does the octopus have to do with Heather's unalive? And remember, Phyllis told her family that she put the octopus on the bed in Christine and Paul's honeymoon suite. I mean, yeah, when I saw that, I was instantly like, wait a minute, there's something more to this. This is just me. I could be wrong. It could be just the way they wrote it, and it might all go back to Sharon. But I don't know. The blackout and now the octopus, it has me thinking, giving them a side eye. Okay. All right. I can't dwell on that too long. Let's go on to the situation with Chance and Phyllis. And Phyllis is going hard on them. Hey, I need you to tell me anything you know. And I'm like, girl, he can't tell you nothing. And then she turns around and said that he's too close to this thing. Should you even be on the case? Then he turned around and said, well, I also know that you got hard feelings about Sharon too, and that you're kind of biased as well. And you coming at me because you want me to take down Sharon because you don't like her. It's a mess. It's a hot mess. Now, meanwhile, while Phyllis is on a rampage, Daniel decides to show up at Sharon's house and confront her. And I'm telling you, either she can compartmentalize very well, or she's the biggest psychotic, sociopathic person that I've ever seen. She lied through that whole conversation with Daniel. From what we know, again, we still got the octopus story. But from what we know and what everybody is assuming that Sharon did it, could it be, she went through that whole thing without a blink of an eye. She didn't flinch. She tried to talk to him in this low voice as if he was a therapist, as if she was his therapist, I should say. And I'm telling you, she held it together like a champ. And I'm thinking like, wow, you actually have to be psychotic at this point in order to compartmentalize so well that you told that story with a straight face and then made him second guess himself for coming over there in the first place. So yeah. Listen, Jan, there's a whole bunch of simping going on both shows. You got Nate simping for Audra, you got Nick simping for Sharon, and then you got Carter simping for Hope. But we'll talk about that later. Later. But anyway, yeah, for her to go through that whole exchange without flinching or without blinking or, being out of pocket. And she tried to hold it together after, of course, Daniel left. Guess who shows up? None other than Cameron Kirsten in her mind. And then Nick showed up in her mind, and she having this whole debate, pretty much saying, should I say something or shouldn't I say something? And the Cameron on one shoulder is saying, don't say nothing. The Nick on the other shoulder is like, you can talk to me. And Cameron on the other shoulder is like, don't you do that, because that ain't real Nick. If you tell real Nick exactly what happened, oh yeah, you're going to be screwed. He ain't going to be as nice. And then she goes through this whole thing about he'll understand. He knows me better than anybody. And then, of course, Nick is like, well, the other Nick on her shoulder is like, you can always talk to me. And then when the real Nick shows up at the door, she loses it, talking about, I can't take it anymore. Now, I don't think she's going to actually spill the beans. I actually think that she's going to go into this whole hissy fit and cry about Daniel confronting her and setting her off. And of course, that means that Nick is going to be even more hard pressed to keep Daniel and Phyllis away from Sharon. So yeah, I think they left us with that cliffhanger where Sharon is crying and I can't take this anymore. I honestly believe she's going to go into this whole situation of her telling Nick about the confrontation from Daniel and how he made me feel afraid. And of course, that's going to get back to Chance, and then that's going to make him look even worse. In my opinion, Daniel shouldn't have never went over there. That's why I honestly believe if Phyllis and Daniel want answers, they cannot be confrontational about this. You have to move behind the scenes and have little conversations that you can do a fact-finding mission. Don't go confronting people because it's going to blow up in your face. People going to be looking at you crazy. That's how they should have did it. The only reason I think that she would get a pass, Jules, is if she didn't do it. And I honestly think, I don't know if you were here when we were talking about this about 5 or 10 minutes ago, that it's something about that octopus and her blacking out that I just, it really looks suspect that maybe somebody else did it. Even though she did hide evidence. But that's not the level of an unaliving. But she hid evidence though. You know what I mean? And then you tossed a body. That's got to count for something. I don't know. She probably go instead of calling the police. She threw the body over the bridge, and yeah, I think she'll get in trouble for that part, even if she didn't, take Heather out. You know what I mean? Yeah, he shouldn't have went. Jules, that we agree on. He shouldn't have never went over there. That only makes his case worse because he already, meaning Chance already knows that there's this so-called story about, Heather being afraid of Daniel. All, Sharon has to say to Chance is, oh, he came over here and I was fearful and he made me feel uncomfortable and he scared me because he confronted me about unaliving his wife, his girlfriend. And Chance would be like, did you go over there I went over there to ask her if she did this. He's only making it worse for himself, in my opinion. I don't think Daniel and Phyllis should confront. Yeah, they should. They need to move differently. If I'm going on a fact-finding mission, I'm not going to confront the people that I suspect. I need to gather evidence and then say, hey, Chance, let me talk to you for a second. Look what I found. Go that route instead of jumping in Nick's face, jumping in Sharon's face. It's just going to make his case worse. And then we did see the conversation between Danny Romalotti and Daniel. He wants Lucy to go stay with him while on tour to, keep her at bay, while everything is going on, especially with him being under suspicion. And so it looks like Danny is going to have Christine come back to town, I think tomorrow's episode, and therefore be able to defend him. And that's going to be a switch. Because Phyllis and Cricket also don't get along. Phyllis don't get along with Sharon. Phyllis don't get along with Cricket. But it looked like maybe Cricket might be there for Daniel. And of course, I think this is the only time where we'll see, Phyllis put down the gauntlet and work with Christine to help out her son. So, but all in all, I will give it a B+. It was a pretty interesting episode. I got to give it to Sharon Case because she acted the heck out of this episode. It is insane how well she kept it together. And then she lost it after Daniel left. And it's just, yes. Sharon Case get a gold star in this episode as usual. And I would also say Michelle Stafford, because that girl know how to get mad. She know how to get loud too. So yeah. We got B's, C's, we got 1A. It was a pretty decent episode, I have to say. Give it a B. Yeah, I agree with you guys. I'm giving Sharon an A. Yeah, Sharon Case and Michelle Stafford knocked it out the park today with their emotion on screen and how they played those roles. The daycare with the kids say I'm gonna give it a darn D. Medora gave it A and 4 pluses. Yeah, she got excellent acting. All right, let's move on. We're gonna talk bold. Oh, my Lord. I know it's so many different ways to look at this. All right, so it came back to the part where, let's just go ahead and get this whole conversation with Brooke, Will, and Hope out the way. And here's my thing. As much as they don't want Forresters versus Logans, they definitely, hyped up the propaganda in that office with Will about Forrester versus Logan. It's two sides. You're going to have to pick a side, Will, and Steffy is this, and Steffy is that, and all of this, and all of that. And in my opinion, both ladies have had bad behavior, including you, Hope. So, as much as Steffy have her personal vendettas or whatever, Hope, you at the same time have done some things yourself. So to make it look like it's all one-sided, I can't go with you on that. You had no business kissing that woman's husband. It is what it is. Now, I can't blame you. Thomas made choices to be with her. Thomas also made the choice to leave and go to Paris. That's on Thomas. And I know she continues to blame Steffi for running Thomas out of town. But Thomas is a grown man. Thomas makes the decision. Just as much as Steffi tried to stop him from being with Hope back in the spring of 2023, he didn't listen. He did what he wanted to do. When she didn't accept his proposal in February or March of 2024, he chose to do what he wanted to do. So this is on Thomas. Can't blame that on her. But what I can blame on Hope is her kissing Steffi's husband. And what I can blame on Steffi is using her line as blackmail to get her in line. Either cut the line or whatever. But to tell Hope, you know what? I'll keep your line. But you better stay away from my husband or else you're out the door. That's not a good way to do that. If you needed to cut the line based on business and numbers, do that. Which she got every opportunity with the data. The data reflects for the last 3 quarters that nobody wants Hope for the future. But she used it as leverage. So she did some bad behavior. Hope did some bad behavior. Y'all are both even. Stop pointing the fingers. Anyway, they tried to make a case and a campaign to get Will on their side. And I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. Y'all need to take several seats with this. All right, across the hall in the CEO office, we had the continuating conversation of Carter, Ivy, Electra, and Steffi. Okay, so here's where I am with this. I think Carter had excellent ideas. That's the purpose of his job, is to come up with innovative ideas to move the company forward. Share that with the rest of the team. There's an implementation process after you look at the numbers and the budget and all of that to see if this stuff can work. I have no problem with that. The issues that I do have is how you delivered it. This is a conversation that should have been had with Steffy and with Ridge and even Brooke, because I gotta say Brooke because she's part of the executive team. But this is a conversation that Carter should have had with Brooke, Steffy, and Ridge to say, hey, I want to bring on, and I want to get your intake. I want to bring Ivy on to add to the collection with the jewelry line. I've been looking at some of her stuff online. I think she got a great product. She's family. She's a Forrester. What do you think about bringing in a few pieces and then adding the jewelry line in that division back into Forrester since Quinn left? That's how you handle that. And then when you meet with your counterparts, we can say yay or nay. We can vote. We can actually deliberate. We can look at what the options are. But to bring this girl in and just blindside with no warning, with no type of conversation, with no meeting, and say, hey, I need you to start a whole new division right now on the spot. I can't agree with that. That's not how that works. He got great ideas. I'm okay with that. I'm all about innovation and moving a company forward. But it's how you do it, Carter. And then you tell your CEO, which is technically your boss, about how they need to do what they need to do better with their family. You barely got back into the fold with Eric and the rest of the Forresters after everything that happened with Quinn. And everybody apologized and made up. That was 2022, my guy. That was only 2 years ago. And now you want to confront. All he could have said is, look, you know what? Let's put it on the table for right now. Ivy, I'm going to have a deliberation with Steph and Ridge, and let me get back to you. Just give me a couple days. Let me kind of talk over this thing with Steph. It might have would have went better. Steph was all about data and numbers and things like that. Show it what it looks like. It's all about, that's why they have a PowerPoint presentation, because it allows you to do a presentation. You don't just blindside your CEO with some and tell them they need to take on a whole new division that's going to cost money. Because this is not like a hire. You know, I know we had a conversation earlier, and there was a consensus about Will coming in as an intern. That position was already an open position. Because, Lunatic Luna was gone. It's already open, even though I don't think he should have got that position. Number one, he doesn't like fashion. And number two, there's other people who has a passion for fashion that they could have gave that job to, who have maybe been on the waiting list, and he just come in and cut it because he want to be around all the girls. I didn't like that. I said that 2 weeks ago, right? But it's different when you're bringing on a whole new division. That costs money. That takes time. Any company right now, without going into any other details, the company that I work for, in a process in the next month, is about to do an implementation. It took 2 years to get to that point. That's not something that you just walk in on one day and say, this is what we're doing and we're going to do this today. There's checks and balances. Can we afford it? Let's talk about it. How much money are we going to put to the budget to do all of this? And I know this is a soap and they're trying to create drama. I get it. But on the flip side of this whole situation is Carter knows better. He's an attorney. Put your ideas on a list and meet about it. And Steffy isn't the only person. You still got Ridge. And you got Brooke as part of the executive team. You know what I'm saying? So, well, that's the thing. Who said that? Melissa. Melissa, and that's fine if he does a presentation on Friday. But that presentation should have happened before Ivy came in with, she even set up downstairs. Steffy knew none of this was coming. Carter arranged all of this stuff and did not have a meeting, no memo, no email, no smoke signals, no nothing. Steffy was blindsided by the whole project, and that's not, now I don't agree with her still having issues over Liam. That part makes zero sense to me. You married, you're in a whole married relationship with Finn. You got 2 kids with him. I understand you don't trust the girl, but can we table this and talk about it? Because, I mean, that's the other side of this with Steph. I think maybe she should have gave it a little bit more thought and kind of pulled Carter to the side and like, you know, I don't like how you handled this. But let's have I want to be fair. Let's have a conversation about it. Let's look at the numbers. Can we afford this? Where would it fit? With what line? And then let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But to kind of put the cart before the horse, I think was, to me, not the right way to go. You know what I mean? All right, what are y'all talking about? Phyllis is right. Sharon did it. They didn't do that when Eric brought Quinn into Forrester. He was sleeping with, well, I mean, he's the founder. I mean, the founder can do what he wants. I mean, honestly, he was the founder of the company. The CEO and the founder are at 2 different levels. He's the founder. You know. So, exactly, you're married to Finn with 2 kids. Carter is all fired up. Okay, so let's talk about that. Carter's all types of pissed off because of everything that happened in that office. He runs right in there to Hope. And Hope is like, why are you frustrated? What's going on? What's wrong with you? Blah, 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 right? However, you know, he's ranting. He's in this whole rage about, you know, the jewelry line, hope for the future. And then he has a litany of ideas how he want to bring in designer brands and perfume. And dude, that costs money. Who paying for all of that? And I agree with you on that. But if you want to vent, why are you venting to Hope? She can't do anything but gas you up and put a battery in your back to go and crash out and maybe crash your career out by going up against the Forresters. That part, I'm like, go have a conversation with Ridge. If anybody you should be having this conversation with is Ridge. Ridge is your best friend. You've been with him for a long time. Why are you telling Hope? So she can give you some validation? I mean, I get it. You know, you want to add new products to the product line, but that stuff costs money. Who paying for that? And you already got one line that's bleeding out. Plus, Brooke's bedroom line is funneling money into Hope's line. So you already pulling money from one line to take care of the other. Ridge is trying to work on the couture line. So, I mean, where are we supposed to get all this money from for all this other stuff that you want to do? And then Hope is talking about that's your legacy. No, that's Forrester legacy. If just say, and this is why I think Carter, you're not looking at this properly. If you want to build your own legacy, start your own company. Because you putting all these products under the Forrester umbrella, if they decide to lay you off or fire you just like they did Lily Winters, there is no legacy to take with you. You are an employee right now. So for Hope, for her to be saying, oh my God, this is your legacy. No, you don't own anything there. You work there. If you got all these bright ideas, you and Hope go and take her line and all of your ideas, if you don't think that Forrester is a good fit, and create your own business. Or stop talking to Hope, take those ideas, and go to Ridge and say, look, I need a consensus. I talked to Steffy about this. She don't agree for whatever reason, I don't know, personal issues, but I think this is something that we can really do. And maybe that'll come part of the Friday meeting that they have, that's possible on the cliffhanger episode. But yeah, I mean, you making somebody else's company money, and then Hope got the nerve to talk about legacy. What legacy? He's not going to have it because it's not his company. That's the biggest conversation that Devon and Nate is trying to tell Lily. Why are you fighting for what's going on over there when our legacy is over here? That's my issue with Lily too. It's like, you doing all this for what? And now we got Carter, you crashing out over all this stuff because Hope got you in your feelings. And, you know, I don't know if you guys noticed, and Bree mentioned this to us yesterday in our group chat, but when Hope was having flashbacks yesterday, she wasn't thinking about romantic flashbacks in regards to being attracted to Carter or anything like that. Her flashbacks were centered around what he was saying about her, which, I mean, no lies detected there. Bree nailed that one. Bree absolutely nailed that. Because that girl, I really don't think she's into him like that. All of this is too fast. She says she's not ready. I don't think she's interested in him, because when she thought about Thomas, when she thought about Finn, and Bree said this as well, it was physical. When she think about Carter, it was about what he can do for me. Yeah, you're right, Bree. She get turned on by compliments. You're exactly right. Hope for the future is LSB, right? Yeah, I saw the article. There's an article out there. And let me see if I can get it for you guys. And I'll drop the link in the chat. Hold on one second. So you guys can actually take a look at this. But yeah, there's an article. Let me copy the link. And then here we go. I'll drop it in the chat. Okay. There's an article that was posted about all of this. You know, I mean, yeah, there you go, Sandra Carter. Go get Sally and start your own company, since you have all these ideas, cause Hopeless will ruin you. Yeah, Hope is gassing him up, putting a battery in his back. And the moment that she's like, oh yeah, do this, she knows that Carter is going to go up against Steffy. And she like, shoot, let him do my dirty work. All I got to do is step back and watch. Let me get a bowl of popcorn and let this man get into the Simping Olympics. He's going to get, as J Money said in our chat, a platinum medal for simping so hard that he could probably cost his career. Because at the end of the day, Carter, I don't care if you're COO, you are an employee. You're an employee. All your ideas and everything under the Forrester umbrella is a Forrester product. So if they let you go or you leave the company, you have no stock in the company whatsoever. I mean, that's just like, who was that tried to do that? They tried to do that with Victor Newman. There's no way Carter could have said that same stuff to Victor Newman and get away with it. There's no way Carter could have said those things to Victor. Nope. And it's just hilarious to see him crash out over, you know, and the way he's simping so hard for Hope. And Hope is loving every minute of this. And I honestly think he's gonna get hurt. I don't know if he's gonna lose his job, but I don't think Hope is in this for the long run with Carter. I think at this point she's using him not only to keep the line, but also as an ego stroke. CJS say Carter's about to be fired. Who blindsided the CEO with a meeting and bring folks, and Steffy knows nothing about it? That's ridiculous. Are the writers trying to get rid of Carter? I mean, there's no way I could go into my CEO office and do what Carter did. They will walk me to the door. I can't even do that with my manager. I meet with my manager to say, hey, I got an idea. But to do what Carter did, put together and blindsided her like that, there's no way. No way. And he think that was okay. And then you going to get mad and start yelling at Steffy about she need to put her personal issues aside and all this kind of stuff. Excuse me? What'd you say? And I mean, granted, do she have personal issues with Hope and all them? Yeah, I'm not going to deny that. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. You're barking up a tree that, I mean, they could walk you to the door. Maybe you should go to Genoa City and have a conversation with Lily Winters and Audra. Two people who thought that they were sitting on top of the world, they can do what they want, and at the end of the day, what happened? They don't have a job. Yeah. So, I mean, Carter, you can go down that track if you want to as well, but I don't think it's a good idea. But who knows? We're coming up on November sweeps. It could be, it could turn into something else. Who knows? Maybe they're all, because Keisha did a list, and I'm going to tell you about this. And then we're going to, get to the end. But she did a list. And Keisha said, so they got Carter, Ivy, Will, Brooke, Zende, RJ, Katie, and Eric, and about 75% of Ridge, and maybe Electra, all Team Hope. Whereas Steffy has her husband Finn, mom, and about 25% of her dad. No lies detected. Yeah, we do get messages from Keisha every now and then. So, I like to include her into the conversations from time to time. It's nice to have Miss Keish. But I mean, she's outnumbered. And if I was Steffy, I wish the way that they have written this was that Steffy actually bring in a situation where she can have Ivy on her side as a forester. I would have rather seen that than to be outnumbered and everybody's on Hope's side, in my opinion. Yep, so very interesting episode today. I mean, we had Carter winning the Platinum Award in the Simping Olympics, and I got that quote from J Money. And yeah, Sharon, she lied through her teeth with a straight face. I mean, she didn't even blink an eye. Nothing. Yeah, very interesting. So, I'm going to give today's episode a B. Yeah, I'll give it a B. It was pretty decent, you guys. Aisha said she's going to give it a C minus. Diane said Carter's going to look like a whole fool when this dust settles. I hope that he kind of realizes what's going on. It'll be something that Carter go through all this mess. And if Liam don't go back with Ivy, Hope end up getting back with Liam. He going to be looking crazy. D. Spencer said Ridge is 3/4 of a Logan. So Steffy would be outnumbered soon and she would deserve it. Oh, wow. Okay, y'all gave us I see some C's in this conversation. All right, so yeah, we'll see. All right, you guys, we're going to end it there. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on your notifications so you're notified every time a video or a live chat is posted. Until the next one, I'm T from Soap Corner Talk, and we will see you later. Bye, Soapies.